Hi readers, I'm Rachel from Never Enough Novels, and it's Valentine's Day today, so I am going to be sharing some of my 5-star romance reads. Hopefully you're in the mood for some lovey-dovey, sweet and spicy reads. I have 6 books to share with you today. Now, these aren't the type of books that you read, say you like them a lot, but then forget about a few months later. No, these are the type of books that you will rave about to everyone. They have characters and stories that you can't get enough of. You'll want to reread them, listen to them on audio to get a new experience, and definitely have copies on your bookshelf. As you can see, I have physical copies of every one of the books I'm talking about today because I love them that much. You can find links to all of the books I'm mentioning in this video below, so grab yourself a copy as soon as possible. Let's get into my 5-star romance novels. First up, we have The Xtalk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is a workplace romance, enemies to lovers, has all these tropes that people love. Our main character is Shay, and she is a longtime producer at a local news radio station. She's been slogging away at this job for a while, hoping for more opportunities, and suddenly meets Dominic, who is the new co-worker at her radio station. Now, Dominic is fresh off a master's degree in journalism and public radio, so he comes in thinking he knows absolutely everything there is to know about public radio without having any experience. Well, they immediately clash, but when Shay brings up an idea for this struggling public radio station, it involves 2 exes talking about relationships. And guess who's going to host the show? Shay and Dominic. These 2 are beloved by listeners, but everyone thinks that they were actually exes, even though they've never dated in the past. So they're a little unsure about going forward with this plan, since it means being untruthful about their past. But the show takes off. It's a huge success, and they just decide to roll with it and see what happens. As their popularity increases, Dom and Shay are becoming more and more uncomfortable with the fact that they're lying to their viewers, especially as they start to develop actual feelings for each other. There was so many laugh out loud moments between these 2, as well as some serious sexual tension, but it also dealt with some real world consequences of making potentially unethical decisions, and also dealt with the topic of grief really well. So this is truly a well-rounded romance novel, why it landed on my list of 5-star romances. Next up, I have The Fastest Way to Fall by Denise Williams. This is actually a very recent addition to my 5-star romance list. I just finished it about a week ago, and I flew through it in just a couple of days. Our main character is Britta. She is a journalist and she's shooting for a promotion at work, so she reluctantly agrees to take on a new project with the coworker that is also going for the same promotion. They are testing 2 different new fitness apps. Britta downloads her fitness app and has an instant connection with the coach that she's paired with. While he does give great motivational messages, lots of helpful tips, and she loves that they focus more on overall well-being rather than a number on the scale, she can't deny there's a little more here than just a typical coach and trainee relationship. Meanwhile, on the other side of the app is Wes, who is actually one of the co-founders of this new app. Now, Wes has been a CEO for a while and feels like he's losing the connection to why he created this app in the first place, so he decides to take on a few clients, one of which is Britta. As they start to send more and more flirty text messages and start to message outside of the actual app, both of them realize they might be crossing a line here, but they're just so willing to see where this relationship goes that they take some chances they probably shouldn't. Both of these individuals faced real consequences when their secrets were revealed, and I felt like this was handled very well in the book. It wasn't like the ending was all tied up in a neat bow and everything resolved itself. They actually had to deal with their decisions and face some blowback from the people around them and the public when their secrets were revealed. I love the way this book handled these serious issues while also having lots of the great banter and tension between the 2 main characters. If you want more 5-star book recommendations, please hit the subscribe button below. It's easy, it's free, and it'll make sure you see my new videos as soon as they come out. Get ready, because this next book I'm declaring my all-time favorite contemporary romance. Now, it takes place at a Renaissance fair, so I know I'm going to lose some of you there, but I promise, just please stay with me. Or if you're one of those people who actually likes Renaissance fairs like me, then this is just a bonus. That book is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Again, there is a Renaissance fair as the main backdrop, but I promise the relationship between the two main characters, that enemies to lovers trope, is going to draw you in no matter what. Our main character is Emily, who has recently returned to a small town to help out her sister who was in a car accident. As part of her responsibilities, she's taking care of her niece over the summer. And that means taking her niece to her school's Renaissance fair practices. Well, the first day she gets there and finds out that the younger participants need to have an adult who is willing to volunteer at the fair as well. So that means Emily is becoming a tavern wench. And so begins 6 weeks of prep for the fair later in the summer. As part of her prep, she's learning historical background information, how to talk with an accent, and seems to continually bump up against Simon, who runs the Renaissance fair. Simon doesn't like anyone who doesn't take things extremely seriously, and Emily, with her sarcastic sense of humor, is the exact opposite of him. When the fair finally starts, Emily gets caught up in the excitement, and that includes checking out the handsome pirate who's full of swagger, and oh my god, it turns out to be Simon. His personality takes a complete 180 while he's at the fair, and he becomes this sweet-talking, flirting, super hot pirate that she just can't seem to get enough of. And he apparently is into her as well. As the summer progresses, Emily just can't figure out if Simon is only interested in her as part of his pirate persona, or if there's something real going on between them. And Well Met is the first book in a trilogy, so when I know you'll fall in love with these characters, you can keep reading about them for another 2 books. I've got another workplace romance, enemies to lovers novel coming your way. I'm starting to think maybe I'm a little too into these type of stories, but I'll figure that out later. This book is shipped by Angie Hockman. It came out last year, and it features another workaholic type female who is gearing up for a promotion at work, but she's pitted against her nemesis, Graham, for the promotion. Now, Graham is spelled Graeme, which just has to mean that he's the evil person, because who spells their name that way? But regardless, she's up against Graham for this promotion, and they are both forced to take one of their company's cruises down to the Galapagos Islands. Their job is to come up with a new pitch to promote the Galapagos Island cruises, and whoever has the best pitch will win the role of marketing director. As these things often happen, Henley quickly realizes that all of her hatred for Graham is just the result of an IT mishap and a big misunderstanding. So there's actually a lot more to like about him than hate. But she's very focused on this promotion and puts her entire time into coming up with the best pitch for the Galapagos. It's getting harder and harder to resist Graham's attentions as he tries to woo her, though. This story was so much more meaningful than just a typical romantic comedy. It reads like a typical romance novel, so it's fast-paced, it's fun, it's full of great banter, but it also covers a lot more serious issues like workplace harassment, misogyny, and even some environmental concerns. So because of all those factors, as well as just how much fun it was to read, that's why it's on my list of 5-star romances. The next book on my list is Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. Vanessa is our main character, and she makes a living traveling around the world, living life to her fullest and sharing all of her adventures on Instagram. Her passion is enjoying every moment of life, and that even extends to an unusual circumstance when Vanessa's sister abandons her daughter, leaving her niece completely in Vanessa's care. Vanessa finds herself covered in baby spit up and having some sleepless nights. When her ridiculously hot neighbor steps in to help, she makes it very clear that nothing can happen between them. And Aiden seems perfectly happy to just help her out and enjoy the time spent with her young niece. He is the epitome of a thoughtful, caring man, and swoon-worthy because of his actions. But as time passes, Vanessa can't help imagining this life with a husband and child that she never thought was a possibility. This book is emotional and bold, full of living life to the fullest and taking chances without really knowing what's going to happen. I felt like it hit me so hard and was one that I thought about for a long time after I read it. A truly incredible read. Calling all Great British Bake Off fans, I have the perfect book for you. And believe me, you're going to want to snack with you when you read this one. Battle Royale by Lucy Parker features 2 competing bakers who are both judges on a reality show very similar to the Great British Bake Off, who are also competing for a royal wedding commission. Now, this is an example of the grumpy sunshine romance trope. Sylvie is your typical perky, upbeat, happy person. Her designs are often full of sparkles and glitter and lots of pink, whereas Dominic, and yes, this is the second book with Dominic as the main male character, he is the exact opposite. So he is very stoic and serious. His designs are classy and polar opposites in every way. Dominic and Sylvie immediately clash both in person and on the show. Plus, their bakeries are literally right across the street from each other, so they have lots of chances to express just how much they dislike each other. But when they're searching for that perfect design for the royal wedding cake, they reluctantly agree that working together might just be better than being separate. Can these two opposites find a way to be together? This book has literally everything I could want. I loved the Great British Bake Off aspect and getting a peek behind the scenes at both running a bakery and hosting a reality show about baking. It was so much fun to see how Dominic and Sylvie were the complete opposites but ultimately complemented each other in the end. So, another addition to my 5-star romance reads that I guarantee you'll love. So that wraps up my review of my 5-star romance reads. Let me know in the comment which book you recently gave 5 stars. I always love finding new books to add to my lists.